habitat is off and the AluCab cabin is ready to go on. And in this video, I'm going to go over the options that are available for the cabin. I'll go over the installation process and briefly show you some of the accessories that I have ready to go on over the next couple of weeks. But first, we'll start about why I switched from the Habitat to the AluCab. I want to be clear with you guys, I don't dislike the Habitat. In fact, I love the Habitat. It has been an amazing camper over the last year. The space especially, that thing's a palace and you just can't beat it for that. And my wife and my kid and I have all enjoyed hanging out in it to escape bad weather and even the mosquitoes. They each have their advantages and disadvantages. There are a lot of small advantages that I do like about the AluCab that I'll go over in this video, but there are three main reasons that I made the switch. The first reason is because of these guys, Commonwealth 4x4. They're the shop that I work with here in Kentucky, and they sell, install, and outfit the AluCabs, but they also have their sister company based out of the same building, which is SHW Off-Road, and they are building out interiors for the AluCab, and I really want an interior build out. They're also able to get me a deal that I just couldn't say no to, and they're willing to pass on some of the savings to you guys as well. If you let them know when you start the order process that you saw this on Revere Overland, or if you start the order process on revereoverland.com, they will give you up to $500 off the install fees. The second reason is to do with the door setup on the back. With the Habitat, you retain your tailgate, which means you have to climb up onto that to get into the Habitat. For me, that's not a problem because I'm tall, but my wife really struggled. When we rented the Tundra from Alaska Overlander over the summer, it had an AluCab on the back, and that has its own door that replaces the tailgate, and my wife had no problems at all. She was able to get in, close the door behind her easily, where with the Habitat, I always had to close the tailgate because she couldn't actually reach it or pull it closed. So that built-in door into the AluCab just made life so much easier for both of us, and it also leads on to the third reason, which is dust. Any camper that retains the tailgate is going to get dust in it. That's just one of those things that you can't avoid. You can make it better by putting weather stripping around it, which I did with this, but I was still getting dust in, especially on the long dusty trips in Utah and out in the desert. And it builds up. And I hated that my son was sleeping in the dust or crawling around in the dust in the bed of the truck. So that's something I wanted to avoid. Because the AluCab has its own door, it can be sealed up completely, but it still takes a lot of work from the installer to make sure that everything is sealed properly. So you want to make sure you go with an installer that's going to do it properly. Before putting the AluCab in on the back of the truck, there was some preparation to do. First up, the tailgate needed to be removed to make way for the AluCab rear door fit kit, which is specific to the 3rd Gen Tundra. Clay also took the time to fill any gaps around the edge of the bed that might let dust or water in.
Yeah, so we're applying some Sika to the bed rails here before we put the bed caps back on. And this is going to give us another layer of protection as far as any intrusion from water, dust, anything like that. We want to get this as sealed up as we can for that purpose.
Once there was a good layer of Sika, the bed caps went back on and we were ready for the AluCab to be set.
We lifted this back up once we did our initial fitment on alignment so that we can run a layer of butyl between the AluCab and the bed. And once we put the weight, we do this, it'll flatten this down and give us a seal. It's just another barrier for moisture, dust, everything. And then our final sealing will come back on the outside of the unit with Sikaflex, and we'll put an outside layer. So we're basically going the extra mile to make sure that you have little to no dust and moisture intrusion.
The cabin was secured down to the bed rails with the provided hardware, and the rear door frame and door were installed. The final step for the basic installation was to seal off any remaining gaps and leave the Tundra to sit overnight. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes to talk about some more of the small advantages that this thing has over the Habitat that kind of helped in the decision in switching over. And one of the big ones is the setup time. So I'll show you. With the Habitat, it would take several minutes to get fully set up because I'd have to flip it open and then set up the mattress. Whereas on this one, I can do it all in one. Start by undoing the latches on either side and then simply push up. And now my tent is done. It's ready to sleep in. All of bedding stays right where it's at. I can close it up with everything in place, including the pillows. So I can just get in and go to sleep now. And this is really nice if you're just stopping for lunch as well and it's rainy, because I can just get in, sit inside and eat lunch. And when I'm done packing up is a very similar situation. Again, all the bedding stays exactly where it's at. All I need to do is climb up and then pull down on the top. Because this one's new, the struts are quite firm, so it takes a little bit of weight to do that. And then I just need to make sure that I tuck in all of the fabric on either side, pull it shut. Now I'd latch these to keep it down and closed. I'm ready to go again. So super quick and simple. This also has less space overall because it doesn't fold out. But the bed itself is a little larger than the Habitat's one in terms of the width. The Habitat's about 42 inches wide. I think this one's just under 50 inches wide. So it doesn't sound like a big difference, but it certainly feels like a lot when you're up there sleeping in it. And another big deciding factor in the Switch are the number of options and accessories that are available for the AluCab. I'll go over now the ones that you can actually order when you order direct from AluCab, and I'll talk about some of the other things available that I went with. But when you order from someone like Commonwealth 4x4, you'll get a list like this. This is their ordering form from AluCab. So I'll put a link to this in the description so you can see some of the stuff that you could order direct from them. But right at the top of the list is where you have like the unit itself. This one is the AluCabin, which is for the full-size trucks. I went with the 5.5 foot bed, obviously, because that's what my truck is, but it's also available for the 6.5 foot bed. Or if you have a mid-sized truck, you can go with the canopy camper for either bedside size. Next thing on the list is the destination fee. That's not an optional thing. That's just the delivery cost to get it to wherever you are picking it up from, in this case in Kentucky. But it's the same no matter where you get it from across the US. Then the third thing on the list are the fit kits. Again, that's something that's not really an option. You need it to fit your truck. So that would be something like the kit that makes it fit into the bed on the back here, as well as fit on the front if necessary, to the cab or to the bed if the bed's a slightly different size from your standard truck bed. And then we start getting to some of the optional stuff that you want to add on or you might want to add on. And the next thing on the list is the awning. This is a 270 degree awning and is one of the things that I'm really excited about having again. With the Habitat that I had before, I couldn't add an awning to it and I missed it. I missed having an awning. Especially like a 270 awning. It's just nice to have a place where you can stand outside. It can be sheltered from rain or from the sun, especially with my toddler, because he likes to sit outside. He likes to play outside, but I don't want him, sitting in the rain or getting burned by the sun. So I'll show you this one really quick and the setup of it. And I will say that being on a truck this height does make it a little awkward still, but it's definitely a lot easier than the standard awning. Once it's all untucked from the cover, it's just one single pull all the way around until you get to the end here. And then, if you're tall enough, you can lock it in place onto the back of the AluCab cabin. And you can pull it tight if you need to. This one's looking okay. And then the final step is to push up on the little pole that's here. That allows the water to run off so it's not collecting up there. And then packing away is just the opposite. So unhook it here, let it swing around. Now tuck it all back in to its bag up here. Again, a little bit difficult on a truck this height. But if you've got a slightly shorter truck, these things can be set up in seconds. So with the awning, there are some other accessories and requirements. One of them is the awning brackets and deflector. That's really, if you're getting this, you have to have those. The brackets are what you use to attach it to the camper, and then the deflector comes with the brackets. That's what you have up here. And that's going to be a little bit of a wind deflector, but it's also going to stop branches getting tucked behind here and potentially damaging the whole setup. So it's an important thing to have anyway. Then you also have some of the, I guess, more optional things. So there's the storm kit, which is going to be a tie-down kit with extra pegs for securing it if you wanted to use it in the wind. That's something I chose not to have because this does come with some tie-downs anyway that are tucked in to the bars. It also has a leg on here that you can drop down to give you a little bit of extra support if it is windy, which is quick and easy to do. And honestly, if those tie downs and this leg are not enough to deal with the wind that you got, I'm going to be packing it up anyway. I'm not going to leave it out. So I didn't go with the storm kit. Next on there is the awning gutter. Now that is something I did go with and I do value. And that gives you a gutter that attaches between the awning and the tent when it's popped open. That way you have a watertight seal here, so you can leave your back door open like this, and you're not going to have rain coming in, so you got a nice dry spot. So basically just seals the whole thing up, and I did think that was worth the extra to have. And then if you really want to seal the whole thing up, you can also get the wall kit that attaches to the awnings here, and it gives you a huge living space that's going to be completely sealed off from, you know, wind coming through, that kind of thing. Gives you a little bit extra privacy if you want it as well. That's something I didn't go with because I feel like this is enough space for me, you know, if it's really bad. And that's where we go to escape the mosquitoes and the rain, the cold, that kind of thing, if it really is that bad. And I'm not willing to take the time to set up the wall kit. So I didn't value that, but I know a lot of other people do. Next on the list is the shower cube. That would normally be on this side. I did order the shower cube and the brackets or the mounting kit. That's the next thing on the list, but we haven't put it on yet. So the shower cube attaches right on the front here, and then the back brackets somewhere around here, and it gives you a drop down cube that goes all the way down to the ground. It gives you privacy, a windbreak for if you want to take a shower while you're out here, or if you need to use the bathroom, and it goes right here, because that allows you to, if you want to set up like a Julka or some kind of shower to go to the water tank that we'll talk about in a minute, you can just drop it straight out this window here. The next section on this list is going to be the accessories for the cabin itself. And the very first thing on here is the push button lock cover. So these are the little push buttons here on the side that you push to open up the windows, and the lock cover are these little rubber things that I think are completely worth it. If you're going to be going somewhere that's dusty or muddy or even icy and you're going to want to be able to open these, then you want to have them covered. It's just a super simple rubber cover. We haven't put this one on yet, so you can see this is what it would look like. Actually, this one's not attached fully right now because I did undo it, but this is what it would look like without the cover. This is what it looks like with the cover. So we got those for every single one of the locks around the cabin. You also have the option of a spare tire carrier that's going to mount right here in the middle of the door. According to AluCab, that's going to be up for a 33-inch tire, which obviously wouldn't work with my setup, but I know plenty of people that do it with 35-inch tires and it works just fine, and have seen some people do it with a 37-inch tire. So I haven't got it yet. I haven't decided which way I want to go. A lot of that depends on what heater setup I end up going with in here. So I may still end up doing that and putting my 37-inch tire on the door, on the back here. And that would be a really good way to do it because it means I don't have to do a swing out tire carrier, which just adds another step to getting in and out. So I may end up doing that yet. You then have some table options. So you got the option of a table and table slide. This is one of the few things that if you want it, you have to order it with the camper up front, or at least it's the best idea to do that, because this is something you can't really attach after you've installed the cabin to your vehicle, or the canopy camper to your vehicle. This is best put on before it's installed. So the table slide attaches to the base of the camper here. It's just this frame around here, and then this is the table itself that sits in this slide. It's just a very convenient place to put it, because otherwise it's wasted space, and it's quick and easy to get to. And I can pull it out, and then the legs fold out quick and easy. And now I've got a good table space, and a good flat space is always worth having while camping. It's something that you can never have too much of, especially since we've lost the tailgate, which is what I would typically cook on. So this is great to have, and I think it's worth having. Obviously, that's why I went with it. And what we found is, with my use so far, I've not had any issues with it getting dirty. Which is something you'd think would happen with it being on the outside of the vehicle. Of course, I've only used it in Alaska, where it wasn't super dusty, wasn't super muddy either, but I didn't have any problems with it getting dirty. So we'll see. This is the AluCab water tanks. This is a 50-liter tank, which I think is around 13 gallons, and this would mount to the front wall on the inside of the camper, right up here. This one is the same tank as you get between the canopy camper for mid-size trucks and the cabin for the full-size trucks. But if you've got a full-size truck, then you do need to order the full-size adapter kit for it. You get options with this as well. So one of the AluCab options is the canvas bag setup, and that's basically a set of canvas bags that go all the way across the front here. It's got some pouches on it, some zippered areas as well. I chose not to go with that because I'm doing another storage setup from 813 Fabrication. I'll talk about that later when I talk about some of the other accessories that I've ordered. There is the option of the AluCab can crusher, which typically people mount on the back here on one of the Molly panels that you can order back here. And that can crusher is going to be for like beer cans or soda cans. As someone who doesn't really drink a lot of canned drinks while out camping, I chose not to go with it. But if you're a big beer drinker while camping, it'd be a cool add-on. Helps save a lot of space in your trash. There are a series of Mozzie nets or mosquito nets, bug nets that you can then add on to the windows and the door. The ones that I need for this are the small door mosquito nets. If you've got the 6.5 foot bed, then you would have a large door on the front and then 2 small doors on the back, or the other way around, I can't remember. But with this one, I've got 4 of the small doors, and those Mozzie nets, which is mount on the inside here, and it has several different layers. So you can have it completely unzipped. That way you can still reach in and grab stuff if you need to. If you want some ventilation but you want to keep the bugs out, then you can have just the mosquito net here. That way you can still have some airflow coming through. And then finally, they also have a canvas layer. That way you can have everything zipped up and have the door shut, and it just kind of adds an extra layer of insulation. You know, air is a great insulator as long as it's not moving through. So by closing everything up and having that extra canvas layer there, it's just another layer of air between you and the outside. And then we are adding those. So we've got the mosquito nets for all 4 of the doors. Obviously I don't need it right now, it's middle of winter, but we will be adding those in, as well as the net that goes on the back door here. That's the same kind of deal, just mounts to the inside. You can unzip the whole thing and then roll it up. That way, if there aren't any bugs, like right now, I still got that easy access. I don't have to worry about it getting in the way, or I can just unzip one side of it so I can get in and out without the bugs getting in. or I can zip everything up if I just want to hang out and have the door open and have some airflow coming through. I think those are a huge upgrade. That's something I had on the Habitat as well, was that bug mesh across the back door. Really, really worth having for easy access without letting the bugs in, and like I say, for ventilation if you want that airflow coming through. You then have the molly plates, the corner molly plates. So that comes as a pair, and that's what's going to mount on the back here on either side, and that's going to be where you're going to put some of your accessories. So you might mount the can crusher up there. You can also mount some of the smaller rotor packs. You can mount propane tanks, smaller propane tanks up there. You know, huge variety of things. You can get a shovel mount. You know, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to add to a molly panel, you can put on those. I chose not to do that just yet, again, because I'm not sure which direction I'm going with this. It might be that I don't need any mounting stuff on the outside here. The final two options on the AluCab accessories are the rear door storage panels, and there are two different options. There's just the rear door storage panel, which is going to mount on here instead of what I've got. And then there's also the canvas mesh pockets in the rear, which you can put on here as well. Obviously, I didn't go with either of those because I've chosen to go with the GP Factor stuff instead of the AluCab stuff, because I think it gives me more options, and because I wanted what you see here. We'll come back to this because the next thing on the list are the load bars. Those go on the roof, which we can't see right now, but they are up there. I don't really think I need them right now, but it's one of those things that when I need a roof rack, I don't want to have to order it and wait for it. So I chose to add them. That way, you know, if I do need to take something up there, I can. One of the things we've taken in previous trips is our gazelle tent, so it gives me a good spot to just strap them to the roof rack up there, or if someone else needs something carrying for them, I can strap it up there. Don't need it right now, but it's nice to have that as an option in the future. To go with that, there are the load bar accessories, and you can choose the different feet. I went with the low profile feet, but you can have different profiles, and you can also add a tray up there if you wanted to have some extra storage up there. And then we come on to the GP Factor accessories. These are made by GP Factor, but you have to order these through your AluCab dealer. So in this case, you can order it from Commonwealth 4x4 after the fact. If you see something here and you've already got yourself an AluCab and you're like, yeah, actually that's really cool, I want that, then you can contact Commonwealth, or you can place that order at the time of ordering your AluCab. One of the things I had to have is this table here. So this is the full folding table, goes on the lower half of the door, and it just gives me more horizontal surface to work on. It also comes with a chopping board, which we've taken out because we're seasoning it, or not seasoning, oiling it, and that would normally slide out the side here and give you even more workspace. So it's really nice to be able to stand here at the back and cook dinner, or if I'm inside and I want to cook, I can close everything up and I still have a little table to work off. To go with that, I've also got the full width molly panel that just mounts right above it. This is going to be a great storage spot. I haven't decided which bags I'm going to go with yet, but Step 22 make a bag that's designed for molly panels. iCamper have a bag that's very similar. It's not designed for molly panels, but you can mount it to molly panels, and it's a lot cheaper. So I may end up going with that one and then just making it work with the molly panels, or I can order some super cheap stuff off Amazon and just attach it up there. I also have my MyMedic first aid kit that we sell on RevereOverland.com that's designed to attach to molly panels, so I'm going to put that out here as well just for easy access. That way if I need a medic kit in an emergency, just open the back door really quickly, grab it. The next one on the list kind of works with some of the other accessories that are on here, and that is the Dickinson P9000 fit kit, and that works with the Dickinson heater, which is it's a propane heater. It kind of works like a heat exchanger. It would mount on the inside back panel here, and you'd have a chimney coming out the back. This is a very expensive heater kit, which is one of the reasons I didn't go with it. But it does fit really nicely in a space that you wouldn't otherwise use, and it's going to give you that dry heat. Yeah, I know it's propane, but it's still dry heat because it's a heat exchanger. You're exhausting the combustion gases outside of the tent. But there are more effective options. I haven't decided what heater I'm going with in here yet. I'm looking at the Truma, which is what I have in the habitat that's over there. I'm looking at the Propex because I already own it. And I'm looking at a S-Bar gasoline heater. Haven't decided. They're all dry heat because they all are heat exchangers, so they're all exhausting outside the vehicle. Propane is just really simple and easy, but with the gasoline one, I wouldn't need to carry an extra source of fuel. I can just tap into the gas tank, which takes a lot more effort, but it'd be nice to have that. That way I don't have to worry about carrying an extra fuel source, and it just uses, like on high heat, the gasoline one uses about a gallon every 10 hours. So it lasts forever. And no one runs their heat non-stop unless it's super cold. You then also have the GP Factor electric boards, or the Red Arc and Red Vision kit. And those would mount on the inside on this side, on this panel. And that's going to give you a lot of electrical options. The Red Arc one in particular is going to give you power for, or at least distribute power to every single accessory that you have in here, and you could wire up other accessories in the vehicle as well. I didn't go with that, and I'll show you why I didn't in a few minutes as well when I start talking about the other stuff that I ordered. The GP pressure vent kit would normally mount up here, and that's like a positive pressure vent. It's supposed to help with a little bit extra airflow in there when everything's shut up, and I think it helps with closing as well. It helps release some of that pressure when you're closing. I have that, and that's something we're probably going to end up installing when it warms up a little bit. You then also have the solar wiring organization bracket kits. That's something that's going to go on the roof and just help with the wire if you're going to put solar panels up there, which we are. And then the final thing under GP Factor is the folding step, which would mount inside the bed, and it just gives you a step to get up onto the sleeping platform, because that is actually a long way up and it's a difficult and awkward step up. I haven't got that just because we're going to be building out the interior with SHW cabinets, which is going to give me a place that I can stand on anyway, so I don't need that step. You then have the Dickinson fireplace that we already mentioned. Something to bear in mind with that is, that's a almost $1,300 option just for the fireplace. Then you need that fit kit. Then you need installation, and that's a very long install time, so that's an expensive option. The 813 fabrication Molly panel kit is specifically for the AluCab water tank, and it's going to give you Molly panels, a single Molly panel that goes on here and takes up about a third of the space, and you can add up to 3 of them that go all the way across. You can order them when you're ordering the AluCab, or you can order them separately afterwards, and I ordered mine separately direct from 813 Fab because I wanted to switch it up a little bit. So instead of ordering 3 Molly panels, I ordered 1 Molly panel, which I think is going to go here for my water heater. And then I ordered 2 of the 813 fabrication pack-out panels that I'm going to put here, and those are for the Milwaukee pack-out cases. So that's a nice sealed storage box that I can put on here. Thought it's just a little bit more useful than a Molly panel. Then finally, we have Hest. And you can get the Hest mattress, which apparently is incredibly comfortable. I haven't ordered it yet, but I probably will end up with it because it is a perfect fit for the bed up there, for the sleeping platform up there in the cabin, or for the canopy camper. I've heard it's worth every penny. And then you can also add on the camp pillow, but those 2 things you can also order after the fact from Hest. So that is the entire list of things that you can order direct from AluCab when you're placing the order for this. But that is definitely not the full list of accessories that you can have for the camper, for the canopy camper, or for the AluCab, and the list goes on. So let's talk now about some of the other things that I have ordered to go with this on top of that list. So a lot of the other stuff I've ordered goes on the inside here. You can see, those are my bug meshes. They're the mosquito meshes for the windows. This is the back door. This is the gutter kit that we mentioned for the awning. So that's all stuff that still needs to be installed. I already talked about the 813 Molly panels, but I've also got their lock kit. So on the back door here, typically comes with 2 of these locks that are designed for locking it from the inside when you get in, and then obviously there's the lock on the outside, which is designed for a padlock. But this kit is this is a really neat thing from 813 Fab. This wires up to your tailgate lock, and it has a deadbolt system in it. So when I lock the vehicle, it's gonna lock this back door. I don't need to worry about putting a padlock on there. I don't need to worry about locking it with this necessarily from the inside. I just lock it with the truck keys, and this locks. So that's really cool how that integrates into the vehicle. I had to have it. On the inside, the reason we haven't put the water tank in yet is because we are going with the SHW off-road build out. So we need to get that installed in there first and figure it out. And that's going to have benches that go down both the sides. I've seen the Gladiator version of it, and it is amazing in the Gladiator version, and it's kind of got a modular system. In the Gladiator I've seen, they had benches down one side, and then they had like the upper system, which had panels that pull out to the outside. But for me, I just want the lower benches. I want more seating space so that we can hang out in here. For power, I'm using this. This is from Redoc. This is their total vehicle management system, and this is the Rogue. So I mentioned the GP Factor Redoc panel. That uses like the top of the line Prime, the total vehicle management system Prime, which is much bigger and can support up to 30 amp outputs, where this one's just 10 amps per output. But this is just controlling stuff that is inside the cabin, and I don't have anything in there that pulls more than 10 amps. So the advantage to this is it's a little cheaper, a lot easier to mount, and it takes up a lot less space because it is a lot smaller. If I can pull this out, I can show you. So this is the Rogue, and you see you got inputs and outputs, so I can control various things with this, including the lights that are in there, the fridge, that kind of thing. But I can also hook this up to the water tank, and I've got a water tank monitor that is built into this system as well, and all of that will display on my 2 Red Vision screens. So I've got a screen that's going to be mounted inside the back here, and then a screen that's linked to it in the front, and I can control everything in the entire vehicle from those screens, or I can monitor things like the water tank, the batteries from those screens, or control it with the Bluetooth app on my phone. This is the Max fan, and this is going to go on the roof. We're cutting a hole in the roof of my camper to install an extraction fan. But this is a very, very effective extraction fan. I actually got into a 4-wheel camper. I can't remember which model it was, but it was at Overland Expo, and it was really hot in there. We turned on their extraction fan, and within seconds it was cool. With this one is it's got a rain cover built into it, so I can pop it open in the rain, and I'm not going to get any rain inside the vehicle. It also happens to be a perfect fit for the structure and the framework that's built into the top of this tent. So this is a modification that I'm probably going to make its own video. That way, if you want to add this to your canopy camper or your cabin, or even one of their rooftop tents, you can. You can probably even add this to any rooftop tent. This is just going to be, I mean, it's not going to be like air conditioning, but it's going to be a really good alternative because it's not going to pull nearly as much power, but it's going to cool inside really nicely. So I'm excited for this. If you want to see that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because that's going to be coming up at some point. Basically, as soon as I'm brave enough to cut that hole. On the roof, I'm also going to be adding some solar panels. I have the Dakota Lithium. I got 2 of the 100 watt flexible solar panels that are going to mount in the space around the fan, and those are going to be hooked up to the Red Arc system, obviously, to charge, but they're going to some Dakota Lithium batteries, and Dakota Lithium have come out with some amazing new batteries. We've got their 280 amp hour batteries, 2 of them, and they're actually pretty small. It's amazing how they fit so much power into such a small space. I'm also going to look for some roof storage to go on that space on the roof rack there. But finally, a big upgrade that I'm making is going to be to the brakes. I've talked before about how bad the brakes are in the Tundra and how I need an upgrade for them. But now I've added the weight of the AluCab setup on the back, and especially with that build out from SHW Off-Road, it all just kind of adds up. You know, none of them are particularly heavy. Even the AluCab, you'd be surprised, you're looking around 500 pounds. But it adds up, and I need a brake upgrade. So I am getting the Power Brake kit. It'll be the X-Line system, which is a 6-piston caliper. It comes with their own rotors, their pads. It is, apparently, from people who have used their brakes, amazing. It makes a huge difference to braking performance, and I need it. So I'm looking forward to that upgrade as soon as I can get my hands on it. If you have any questions about the AluCab setup, you know, like installs or specifics, that kind of thing, feel free to give Commonwealth 4x4 a call. They can answer all your questions. They're also going to do up to $500 off the install fee when you tell them I sent you. So that's a huge savings, and makes it worthwhile heading to them in Winchester, Kentucky, even if you're a state or a few states away, actually. Or you can leave me a comment. I will answer questions as best I can. Thanks for watching.